Warlock's got a new exotic to have fun with, in Arc 3.0, the Fallen Sunstar. The exotic perk is Ionic Conductor. Ionic traces you create move faster and grant you additional ability energy. Nearby allies also gain ability energy when you collect an Ionic trace. So there's stuff for you in solo play. You have the added benefit in team play when you grab that trace to give those nearby allies ability energy. We have the last fragments unlocked. There's a couple ways to set this up. I have the way that I like, and I'm going to show you the full build, but there's a lot of ways. There's also a question of how much does this Ionic trace give you ability-wise compared not to having the exotic. There's a lot to talk about, but before we do, we have a new season here. I am partnered with Apex Gaming PCs, and my PC line has 3 tiers: cool, cooler, and coolest. They're customizable, and the base tier for Destiny 2 will do 60 frames on medium settings, 60-70 frames on 1080p monitors, and in a higher line, you can bring out the full King's Fall raid graphically. The raid's stunning with max settings, and what you're getting with Apex Gaming PCs is a lifetime labor warranty. They ship worldwide, a 1-year standard parts replacement warranty, 24/7 customer support, and more. All the good stuff. If you don't have it all up front, that's okay. They do offer flexible financing installment plans. There's a link down below right at the top of the description, and don't forget, you can save up to $250 with code CoolGuy. I think the Warlock mains are going to be happy with this. First things first, the Ionic trace that you create moves faster and grants you additional ability energy. It's basically 2-to-1. 2 regular traces get you near 50% without that helmet, but when you have the helmet on, it gets to the 50%. Very strong. Double trace energy. This exotic on this subclass is pure ad clear, and that's how I set it up. And we now have more paths to create traces because all the new fragments are unlocked. Now, I'm gonna start with Arc Soul. No one's talking about Arc Soul with this thing. A lot of people are using Lightning Siege, which I will cover, but I don't think that's the best option. I think that the Arc Soul is better. It covers more. So don't count the little buddy out. Cast your Rift, create the Arc Soul. Allies get an Arc Soul when they pass through it. Now, while amplified, the Arc Soul becomes supercharged, gains an increased rate of fire, and I'm gonna come back to this. Next, Electrostatic Mind. Defeating targets with arc abilities or defeating jolted or blinded targets creates an Ionic trace. Collecting that trace makes you amplified. Very simple. Let's start here with the build. The Arc Buddy counts as an arc ability. You can cast your Rift, it will get a kill. When it gets a kill, it's going to drop a trace. It's going to come to you. The Arc Soul is going to become amplified. You're going to get ability energy, and it's going to sit there, get kills. You literally don't have to do anything. It's going to drop traces, getting that Rift back. It's powerful when you put it all together. Fast Rift gets you amplified, takes out targets that you aren't shooting at, grabbing traces. And before I show you the full build setup, look at some of the gameplay. It is all ad clear. I have on Trinity Ghoul, various fragments, well mods add up to a powerful ability spam. It's like Nezarec on steroids. For the melee, Chain Lightning, extended melee that jolts and chains. When amplified, it has an additional set of chains. So this is opposed to the other melee Ball Lightning. Ball Lightning does not jolt. It just sends that additional lightning strike if you're amplified. For the grenade, Pulse Grenade. I love the utility of it. It's similar to a Vortex, right? It sits in an area, there's a fragment on it, constantly puts in work. You could do Storm, other grenades, but Pulse is powerful. For the fragments, Ions. Defeating a jolted target creates an Ionic trace. Discharge. Arc Weapon Final Blows have a chance to create a trace. Shock. Arc Grenade jolts targets. Magnitude. The grenade lasts longer. So we have an Arc Buddy that is creating traces, giving you ability regen on things you aren't shooting at. We have grenades jolting, giving traces. We have a melee jolting, giving traces. Arc weapons dropping traces. And those traces, again, doing 2 times of what a regular trace does. Then we have the armor mods to complete it. Seeking Wells on an arc piece. Wells that you create move across the ground to you and allies. So you're going to have traces and wells coming to you. Elemental Ordnance and Melee Wellmaker. So your powered melee final blows and arc grenade final blows create arc wells. And remember, arc wells, wells that are matching your subclass, grant ability energy to all of your abilities. Fought to Might, that's getting the Trinity Ghoul or other arc weapons more damage, because you're constantly going to have these wells. And then Bountiful Wells. So whenever a well is created from the melee or the grenade, it's going to drop 2 wells instead of 1. It is a spam simulator. Very impressed with it. You also have Chaos Reach for super damage, and I look at it like this. This can be used for most, if not all, content, because you're dropping a Healing Rift, the Arc Buddy's getting free kills, you're getting kills, dropping traces, it's dropping wells, you're going to throw in some melees every now and again, it will jolt targets. When you kill them, that's going to drop a trace. It's got high uptime, you can do it safely, and Seeking Wells is making all the wells that you create come to you. The helmet's completely bypassing 1+ minute cooldowns, getting them back in seconds. And Trinity Ghoul is awesome, but you can use something like the new fusion, Delicate Tomb, where you can get traces from final blows. If you're amplified, it's also going to jolt, creating even more. And the Catalyst reloads it for free when you pick up that trace. It's a very good ad clear with the jolt. There's no wrong answer. You have a lot of play here. And I chose Arc Buddy opposed to the Lightning Surge, because Lightning Surge states, while sliding, you activate your charged melee to blink forward and jolt targets. So that involves spending a melee charge, getting close to a group of enemies, be in the thick of things, as opposed to the arc buddy just going full feral on an area, mowing things down, dropping traces. So if you're solo in a lost sector, or even let's say War Priest in the raid, you can be in a rift at a distance, get healing, keep reprocking the powerful arc buddy, getting a lot of traces, free traces, more traces than running around trying to land charge melees. And on the other side, again, chain lightning as a charge melee for jolts. It's the best of all worlds. You get pretty much everything that the kit has to offer. And Trinity is just a solid choice, but you can also use something like Golden Tricorn on an arc weapon. The more I played with it, I truly believe that the Fallen Sunstar runs through the arc buddy, the amplified arc buddy, very strong. Let me know what you think. There's also things within the artifact that can add to this. Lightning strikes twice after throwing an arc grenade, like the pulse. You gain an increased grenade recharge for a short time. The arc final blows extend the duration, so that's going to help out tremendously. Trace evidence. Defeating combatants affected by arc debuffs spawn an Ionic trace. So Jolt, Blind, those are arc debuffs. So it's going to double up on the traces whenever you get those kills. You have Amped Up to stay amplified longer. The arc grenade for stunning champions, surge detonators for overloads, and it only costs 1 bad amplitude. Damaging a champion with an arc ability causes the champion to become jolted, so they're debuffed. When you kill them, that'll go right into trace evidence, and it's going to spawn an Ionic trace. This is a very good PvE exotic. Try it different ways, but once you get the wells giving you ability energy, all the traces giving ability energy, you are spamming things. Try it with Lightning Surge, that charged melee, but don't leave out the little arc buddy. I think it puts in the most work. As far as the Crucible, it's kind of a tough sell. Main thing to remember, it's not a neutral exotic. It's not an exotic that's helpful at all times. Ionic traces drive the engine. So in this gameplay, I'm using Delicate Tomb for the traces, because if not, if you don't have something like this, you solely rely on ability final blows, or debuffing them, then getting a final blow. You have to get downs with the grenades, with the charged melees, or shortly thereafter if you have on the right fragments, jolting them to get a trace. That's the gameplay loop that you're seeing right here that I'm doing. Getting a kill with the fusion, getting a trace, becoming amplified, popping my rift, getting the super arc soul. That arc soul lands full damage, it takes 2 bolts off of my TTK with this fusion, it's just run and go. It's a niche thing. If you do use it in the Crucible, you gotta be creative. You gotta land arc final blows or debuff them and down them. Most won't do that, but if you do get it going, you do have little moments of power. Pretty fun. I'm not gonna be using it unless I come up with a very creative build. This is viewed mostly as a PvE exotic. It's very good there. Crown is good, it extends Storm, but with this, you have a faster upkeep, you're not tied to Storm, you can use Chaos Reach for damage, and just all around great. They did a really good job with it. And when you set it up, I've shown you just a single way. There's a lot of modifications you can do. There are multiple ways to put it together. It puts in a ton of work. If you're new here, remember to hit the subscribe button, and if you are subscribed, thank you so much for your support. Let's talk about the Fallen Sunstar down below, and don't forget about Wellspring, Demo Weapons, Golden Tricorn. You can always fall back on Trinity Gold though. It's been amazing. Thank you for watching, and until the next one, I'm CoolGuy.